So I posted a video of my solo flawless run through Grasp of Avarice last week, and I thought I'd make a casual guide and share some tips that might help you clear this dungeon solo flawless too. It's super doable, and with the right equipment, it won't take that long either. If you enjoy the guide in the more casual format, leave a like. It really helps me out and I appreciate it a lot. I'm working off an outline today here instead of a full script, so I may miss some stuff here, but outlines help me get out content a little bit faster. If you guys have any tips of your own you'd like to share, definitely comment with those down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it in the comments. And with that, let's get started. So for the first few encounters and rooms with just navigating some of the puzzles, obviously if you're trying not to die, you need to know which traps are where. If you're fuzzy on that, I would suggest doing a little practice run through. To go a bit quicker, I did use Eager Edge to skip some of the puzzle areas. That helps a lot. I mean, you gotta consider if you fail a couple times, maybe 2-3 times, and it saves you 4 minutes each time, that adds up quickly. So Eager Edge really helped a lot here, and I think a movement exotic like Stompies or Transversive Steps would be a nice touch here too to go a little bit faster. For the second encounter with the Ogre, I'd make sure you have the right jump on your class. First of all, hunters don't really make that jump too well into the boss arena. You're gonna need triple jump or Stompies. Perhaps most importantly for this encounter is that you want to take advantage of your seasonal loadout options, the seasonal artifact mods. Those are really influential. Mods like Volatile Flow, Font of Might are all really important. They're seasonal artifact mods this season. They're cheaper and it's going to help you out with ad clear, doing more damage. They're really strong. If you haven't tried these out, I'd really recommend it. And it's important here because I use Izanagi's and a rocket. So it's really helpful to have a single weapon that can output a lot of damage to majors as well as good ad clear. And for me, that was Funnel Web, pretty popular this season, especially with all the void options. But another good option would be Every Waking Moment, the SMG from the Moon. That has some really nice roles like Subsistence Multi-Kill Clip. That could certainly work. I mean, that'll synergize just fine with all your void stuff. But yeah, use the seasonal artifact mods, find your own builds that you like. Mine was just like pure ad clear. Reaping Wellmaker was helpful for me, getting an elemental well after getting a kill, after dodging. Maybe melee or grenade Wellmaker would be better if you're on Titan and Warlock, but I'm kind of a hunter main, so you're getting that perspective today. And since we're talking about hunters, I would definitely use invisibility. I mean, you dodge and you're invisible and you're practically safe immediately. Really helpful for depositing engrams and just avoiding the ogre. I would definitely recommend Void Resist, maybe even doubling that up on your chest plate. The ads here aren't really the main focus of your survival since they're so easy to clear out with all the elemental well stuff. The boss can shred you down pretty quick though, so I would definitely go with Void Resist. And then to increase your survivability a bit more, I'd definitely use the Devour aspect that gives you Devour upon picking up an Orb of Power, and then on your helmet equip the mod that'll let you get orbs after Void elemental kills. Creating orbs is kind of a pain with all the hoops that you have to jump through now these days, but it's still really worth it, especially with Devour. Getting kills restores your health. I mean, it's just insane. So definitely use Devour. I think I actually forgot to on this run. It would have helped a lot, but Devour is a big deal here. And then as far as like just tips for the encounter, if you want to make your run a little bit faster, juggle the Scorch Cannon so you don't have to kill the Vandal every time you open a door. So halfway through clearing out the ads, just run back, pick up the cannon so it doesn't despawn. That'll help save you some time that you can open up doors consecutively. And for damage, again, like I said, I used Izanagi hot swapping, and my rocket was Palmyra B. Palmyra B is a pretty popular option. It has some good rolls. So of course I was using auto-loading holster, and for the second column, I went with explosive light. Now, of course, this is going to sound really stupid and obvious, but when you're using a rocket launcher, just be careful. Don't strafe into cover when you fire your rocket at the boss. I've ruined runs that way. Be careful that you don't have Thrall left over. I mean, if they're a Thrall, take a moment to shoot them. It's not a big deal to lose a little bit of DPS that way, because what they're probably going to do is jump right in front of you when you fire a rocket. That's going to ruin your run pretty bad. As far as where you're doing DPS from though, I would say either location works fine. There's a little less obstruction on the left side from where you enter the room. So I did it from there. Not a big deal though. In terms of being efficient with your DPS, try to juggle your debuffs as best as you can. I mean, debuff them with the Void Grenade if you're a hunter, use the Tether, just stuff like that. And the last thing before we move on from this encounter, it's kind of a small thing, but don't set your Scorch Cannon down where you're going to be doing DPS, because you're going to be hitting the reload button when you're swapping Izanagi and all that kind of stuff. And if you accidentally pick up the Scorch Cannon, it's going to take a lot of time away, and you don't have a lot of time in this damage phase by yourself to work with, so just make sure you don't set it in the way. If everything goes okay for this encounter, it should be a pretty clean 4-phase, 3-phase if you're really on top of things, but yeah, overall, just be patient with this encounter. Don't rush things too much. Just make sure you're keeping tabs on your Burden of Riches timer so you don't get killed by that, and just make sure that you have the helmet mods for ammo finders so that you actually have some ammo in between each damage phase. After clearing the ogre, you are of course going to be on to the Sparrow race part thing. So I would just memorize the pathway, practice this on a run that's not your flawless, because you do have to hit some time extensions for the mines C and D, and just see what route works for you for when the time comes to do the real run. Now, one thing I will say, after clearing the Sparrow race, you're going to get to those crystal caves, jump very gingerly through them. They have some weird physics, and even if you land from a height that shouldn't normally kill you, it can potentially insta-kill you. So it's really weird. Just take your jumps really carefully. Fallen Shield encounter isn't very complicated. It's just really tedious and time consuming. So I just used stuff that really helped me clear things out quickly. Galley, a shotgun, funnel web all worked really well to help me clear things out, and you'll be on to the boss before you know it. And with all that said, we are finally at the final boss. In my flawless run, that was actually the first time I tried to do it solo, so you can see a little bit of confusion if you go and watch that run at first. But in terms of advice, I would just say don't be too aggressive. Don't get caught in a bad spot where you have no cover. You've got nothing but time here, unless, of course, you have some engrams. But the main difficulty of this encounter, honestly, is just dealing with the minions of the boss that spawn in the middle. They're just so beefy. And so just work patiently and figure out the best way to kill them. What I did was I utilized the regenerating abilities when you collect 10 engrams, and that gives back your super, grenade, all that stuff. So I used the Mobius Quiver super from my hunter. That deals a lot of damage now this season. And if you just keep doing that, using your supers and occasionally some heavy ammo to down his minions, that's going to go a long way to speeding up this encounter. Again, don't forget that you can juggle the Scorch Cannon a little bit, and that'll give you some more time with it, so you don't have to kill the Vandal every time you open up a pod and get some more engrams. That helps a lot. In terms of survivability, the extended invisibility for hunters with that fragment is really handy, especially for depositing engrams. Barriers for Titans and Rifts for Warlocks are going to be really helpful too, so just make sure to place those, play conservatively. DPS is pretty normal here. I just strafed around the middle crystal and ducked out if I started taking too much damage. This is where Titan barriers and Warlock wells and rifts would be a lot better than hunters, but I kept the same loadout through the rest of the dungeon here with the Izanagi's and Rocket Hot Swap, and it should also be another nice 3-phase, or likely another 4-phase. Sometimes the ads will mess things up, but it's no big deal. Just stay patient, don't rush it. You know, if the boss is close to dead and you're taking a lot of damage, like, just duck out of there. It's way better to duck out and survive than lose like 50 to 70 minutes of work just to get to that point. You know, solo flawless, you gotta play conservative. So yeah, just play it a little bit safer when you're DPSing. Definitely give it a shot. This dungeon isn't too bad. You'll get a feel for the encounters and what gives you trouble, and after a couple practice runs, and maybe even not that many, you'll do just fine. That's actually all I've got for this guide here. You guys definitely got this. Give it a shot. You'll crush it. And when you do, let me know down in the comments. It'll be awesome. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more cool content like this. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.